Hello, everyone. Juxtaposition here. Hope everyone's having a great day and enjoying your favorite Morning Joe in the handsome Juxtaposition 1 mug. Nectar of the Gods. Okay, I hope you enjoy me hanging out with my homies behind me here. This is the made for television, staged and casted Manson family. This is from 1970. This photograph was snapped, I guess it was July 1970 when we began the kangaroo court run by Judge Charles Older of the Office of Special Services, who flew for communist China before Pearl Harbor. The judge in the Manson family murder case was the third ace to shoot down Japanese planes before the Pearl Harbor, flying under the flag of Republic of China, flying a P-40 Flying Tiger with a Rolls-Royce engine. Judge Older, he was working closely with Evil Younger, also goes by Evil Younger. Evil Younger was the district attorney of Los Angeles County, which is where these bald-headed ladies, these teenage ladies are from, Los Angeles County. And the district attorney is Evil Younger. He goes on to become the attorney general of the state of California under Ronald Reagan after sending the 5 defendants to the gas chamber. That's right. I'm talking about Leslie Van Houten, Patricia Krenwinkel, Susan Atkins, Charles Watson, who the media insists on calling Tex so that you won't confuse him with Charles Manson, whose real name is No Name Maddox. So those are the 5 defendants, right? Charlie Watson, Charlie Manson, Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, Leslie Van Houten, 5, sentenced to the gas chamber, which these 3 girls helped along with the public relations of creating this pseudo fake family cult. The news media referred to it as cult. They referred to Charlie Manson as a man who called himself Jesus or God or Satan. Those are 3 relatively different words. But according to the Los Angeles Times and the Chicago Tribune and the New York Times and the Washington Post, Charlie Manson is Satan or Jesus or God. Pick your favorite cult leader, right? All right, so today's video will be entitled Stagecraft, paren, direct or divert, end paren. Stagecraft, direct or divert. That's the concept of being a director and in charge of lighting, curtains, booms, microphones, acoustic, and photonic optogenetic effects. Lighting is very important. Okay, makeup, wardrobe, very important. Ambient dynamic within the domain of the stage theater, the design of the theater, the height of the ceiling, the number of seats that you can shoehorn into a theater without creating too much distraction or side noise or collateral damage, as we call it. Those are all factors of stagecraft. Everything goes into stagecraft. And stagecraft applies to all disciplines in life, all disciplines. It can be as simple as you going off to a job interview. Has everybody listening been to a job interview? There's stagecraft involved with that. Don't you have to put on your best clothes and pressed shirts or blouses? You don't want to show up to an interview looking like an unmade bed, do you? No. So you want no crinkles, no wrinkles. You want to comb your hair. Your appearance is important in a job interview. Also, you don't want to be glad-handing and backslapping and acting like a hillbilly in a job interview. You want to be prompt. You want to be early or on time. You most definitely don't want to be late to a job interview, right? Better to be early than late. Better to be early than late. That's part of stagecraft. Showing up on time, showing up dressed for the role that you're casted for or that you're seeking to be hired for. And then, of course, the most difficult part of life is doing what you say you will do, doing what you say you're going to do, that your word is oak, that your word is guaranteed. That's something that very few people can get right. But showing up on time, dressed appropriately, are all important stagecraft elements that anyone can do. Really, anyone can do those things. All right. So it applies to the entertainment world if you're putting on a stage performance on Broadway or at your local high school. Arsenic and Old Lace, for example, right? It applies to sports. It applies to me. I raced motorcycles for 10 years. I raced bicycles for 25 years. There's a lot of stagecraft that goes into that. Besides suiting up, showing up to the starting line on time, actually that means early. You most definitely don't want your race to leave without you. You'll find it's very difficult to be competitive when you start 5-10 minutes behind the people that you're racing against. All right. So what I wanted to tell you is you need to show up on time, but then also once you're in the height of battle, in the heat of competition, you don't want to telegraph your move. That's an expression I learned in motorcycle racing and bicycle racing, telegraphing your move. Those are rookie mistakes. In other words, you don't want your adversary to know what you're going to do. You want to be unpredictable on the battlefield. So in other words, you fake right, go right, or you fake right, go left, or you fake left, go right, or you do none of the above. Those are all options that you have when you overtake someone and you're attempting to pass them. They're generally going to want to block you or take the preferred line. And you'd prefer to use the smoothest way by, but typically that's not available for you. So the next best thing is to get your adversary to make a mistake by assuming that you're going to the left when you're really going to the right. Then you can carry some momentum, and that's how you're going to pass your adversary, by going faster than him. But if he moves into your line or rut, you'll have to hit the brakes or turn off the throttle. And now you're going his pace. So now you've thrown away your advantage. Your advantage is that you overtook him, meaning you were quicker on the race course. And if you ever slow down your pace, now you're equal to your adversary, and you're going to have to start all over again with trying to gain momentum or the advantage. Your advantage is momentum, and the tricks of the trade are to use diversion and deception to get him out of your way. Diversion and deception. This is stagecraft, diversion and deception. Also to direct people in the line for the cremation oven, or direct people to get a real ID, or to direct people to volunteer for a PCR test to collect your DNA, or to direct people at the airport to use eyeball recognition. See, stagecraft is PCR tests. Stagecraft is COVID belief, COVID pandemic hoax. That's stagecraft. In other words, convincing people of a lie, that the lie is truth. That's one of the greatest stagecraft tricks of all. It's also known as the occult. It's known as the black magic, when it's a criminal activity where you fool people into getting a bio-cyber interface known as a COVID vaccine. That is a bio-cyber interface. Let me repeat. Bio-cyber interface is your annual flu shot. Bio-cyber interface puts aluminum and plastic polymers and other foreign objects into your body to tether you to the cloud with a very strong ambient and molecular engineering farm tag, QR code, MAC address, media access control address. That's what a COVID shot is. It's a MAC address. Congratulations. You've been tagged like Betsy the dairy cow. All right. Another example of the juxtaposition of Stagecraft is, for example, the theme of Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast. This is the juxtaposition. Let me give you some examples. Besides these bald-headed girls here, which are attributed with imprinting into your brain that Charlie Manson was a cult leader of a family where he was Jesus or he was Satan or he was God, and everyone shaved their heads and became his slaves and did whatever he wanted and obeyed his commands without question. Sounds like the United States Marines. Do you know these girls could be in the United States Marines? This is the exact policy that the United States military uses for people who enter the Marines or United States Army. They have their head shaved. Sometimes they're called crew cuts. These are cue ball bald heads. This is for effect. This is for the theatrical effect. But do you know that the Manson family and the United States NATO forces for Army and Marines, that they're not the only charade out there? No, we have this gentleman here. This is Howard LaVey, but he was introduced to you as Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan. And darn it, if he doesn't have a Kojak bald head, right? The Church of Satan was officially formed on April 30th, 1966. But to further enhance the deception, they did a photo opportunity when they formed the Church of Satan, where they invited the opposite, the inversion, the juxtaposition. The juxtaposition of Anton LaVey, of course, is Jane Mansfield, who is a beauty queen. So here we have Jane Mansfield. Jane Mansfield is there with Anton LaVey and his medallion. They have Anton LaVey and a beautiful blonde beauty queen. And these photos were taken, we believe, in 1966. So I don't have an exact date. This is after they spray painted his house located at 6114 California Street. And I believe these photographs were taken at 6114 California Street in San Francisco. That comports to a 3333 address, which is the highest level of obedience within the obelisk, right? Within the obelisk system, we have the code of obedience, known as the code of obedience, followed by the code of silence. Let me see here.